Geminis, the twin. What's going on, twin? Balance your spirituality and practicality. There's a sense of you needing to be unavailable. Bottom of the deck is Temperance, and you have Justice, Page of Pentacles, Five of Wands. You need to be unavailable for a few. Because immediately what I'm getting is like, because you're the twin, you're the individual that has, you naturally see both sides, but you do it in real time. And so, you're kind of like, how do I want to say this? You're kind of the judge to a lot of individuals. Okay. So with the Page of Pentacles, you share your thoughts, you share your feelings in specific ways that like other people really, really, really can benefit from. But however, the individuals that you are kind of interacting with or being around, they're chaotic people. And so they kind of throw you into chaos. They kind of throw you into the middle of, BS. Or sometimes you might find yourself being in the middle of BS. But it's like you have become, I say this loosely, you've kind of have become a sense of like a messiah for people. But you kind of need to hone in that energy in order for it to be used properly. Right now, you kind of use it, you kind of have it, but it's not. This isn't like towards you, Gemini, but it's kind of like the energy is more chaotic than it is anything sturdy. Temperance being at the bottom of the deck is you needing to take time alone. You needing to be alone. Just step away. Really what's happening is people are fighting amongst themselves. You being the twin, you have awoken pretty much the other half of a lot of the peoples that you are around with the Five of Wands, but they can't handle that. They're not able to hold both sides like you are, Geminis. So if it is individuals, that come to you for advice or whatever the case may be, you do talk to them and speak to them in both of your forms, but however, they hear what you're saying, but they can't really understand it. So then they end up, having problems with other people that's around them or you yourself. Because you might be telling them something that's true, but some individuals just can't handle it, or some individuals just don't understand. Even if they have come to you because they see you to be a person that they can ask for advice or talk to, but yeah, whatever it is that you tell them, they're not open enough to understand it at a core level. So they start being unhappy with themselves to where they start being unhappy with other people, and ultimately they start to be unhappy with you because you're the one that kind of said this, that, and the third to begin with. But balancing your spirituality and practicality is more so picking and choosing how you interact with people, do have two completely different separate moods. So it's kind of like being in your spirituality side and seeing what it is that you do, how you do it, when and where you do it, and then doing the same thing in your practical side. Again, to the twin. But stay away from individuals for a little bit. Just focus on you. Just focus on you. And it's okay to be a little just a tad bit. It's okay to be a little, I don't even want to say arrogant, but it's, up in the cloud, have the head in the clouds type of energy. But you're doing it in a way of putting yourself first, looking at yourself first, dealing with yourself first. Okay. I'm going to order this time. What's the, let me get 3 cards for the Justice card spirits, please. Ten of Pentacles. Get 3 card spirits. Five of Wands again. Oh, too much. Get one more card, spirits, please. And the High Priestess. So Justice is clarified by Ten of Pentacles, Five of Wands, High Priestess. Bottom of the deck is the World. So you for some of the Geminis that I'm speaking to right now, you really have, I don't want to use that word. For some of the Geminis that I'm speaking to, you have higher power energy wrapped around you. However, though, there are people who will blatantly, intentionally warp what it is that you say. And the only reason as to why they're doing that is because there is a part of you that's not, there is a certain part of you that you haven't kind of meshed together, and you haven't allowed it to really flow properly within yourself. So the words you speak, given that you guys are air signs, the words that you speak hits the ears a little different. Because I know it's not about what it is that you say particularly. I mean, it is sometimes, but it's also about how the other person interprets it. In this particular case, it's both. It's how you're saying there's certain things, but then you also are around individuals who will blatantly, purposefully, with intention, warp what it is that you say. So there's always going to be, I mean, we have the Five of Wands out here twice. So there's always going to be a sense of chaos, a sense of confusion, a sense of like, you always having to defend yourself in some kind of way. because you have individuals who are purposefully trying to warp what it is that you have said or warp what it is that you do. But then also inside of yourselves, Gemini, there's still that kind of fine tuning that needs to be done. Spiritual side and the practical side have to come together. But you do have higher power energy. Despite whatever it is, you do have higher power energy. You just have to take a little time for yourself. More. Clarify me the Page of Pentacles, spirits, please. Now, the Page of Pentacles, from what I'm getting, is individuals who, it's like a penny for your thought type of energy. So, you know, they're always, or maybe even the opposite too. Maybe you are the ones who kind of go to other people to get advice. But the things that you end up saying kind of warps. Okay, so let's put it this way. Geminis, maybe you guys are individuals who tend to ask for advice or tend to ask for something from other people. But for some weird reason, they can't really, they turn. For some reason, they turn. I don't know what it is. Like, if you choose to go get advice or you choose to, you know, go talk to individuals, they're gonna take what you say to heart a little bit. Like, I'm really having a hard time deciphering that energy, but the things that you say out of your mouth for some reason sets them off. Or if they've the one that has come to you for a sense of advice or having a conversation or whatever the case may be, the way that they're hearing what it is that you're saying sets them off, as well as you kind of saying things in specific ways that does set them off. It really has nothing to do with you, Gemini. It's just more so you just have to back away. Go ghost. Don't really be out on the scenes. It's like you put it this way. You kind of have to talk to yourself. Allow both of your twin, because you know, Geminis, you guys are the ones who, we all have duality within each of every one of us. However, Geminis, yours speak volume. Like, yours actually speak volume. Like, when people come to talk to you, when you talk to people, you do shift in and out both of your sides. Whether you realize it or not, you do shift in and out. But you have to realize that's what it is. Realize when you start to shift in and out of yourselves. Balance spirituality and practicality. Sometimes you talk through the spiritual side, and sometimes you talk to the practical side. So if you're having a conversation with one person for 30 minutes, they're going to have conflict within themselves, because you might be telling them one thing in the spiritual essence, and then you kind of switch it up all of a sudden in the practical, and it's like, there's certain individuals, 5 of Wands, feel like you might be attacking them in some way, shape, or form, when you're really not. You're just saying how it is that it is. Not more so how it is you feel, but how it is, but because you're dealing with individuals that are only dealing with one part of themselves, they're not able to understand why all of a sudden you just switched up the way that you did. Now, if you're having a conversation with, high beings like yourself, not more to say intellectual beings, but just more high vibing beings like yourselves, we'll be able to decipher exactly what it is you're saying when you're saying it. And being a Gemini, it'll be more of like, okay, I understand where you're going or how you're going and where you're going with it. But you kind of like have a conversation and you dip in and out of both of your sides. Man, maybe some of you guys don't realize it. That's why I said hone in both of those sides. So when you are having a conversation, you can now jump from twin to twin, but making sure that there is that bridge. Because if you jump from twin to twin, it's like, wait a minute, you kind of were just on my side, but all of a sudden you're kind of not on my side type of energy. It's just the way of you speaking that's a little bit not bridged. It's not connected. But it's not like you're doing it on purpose. It's more so you just have to connect with yourself more. That's just what it is. What's the Page of Pentacles? 3 cards for the Page of Pentacles. So, and then 3 of Pentacles bottom of the deck. It's the energy of either people come to you for advice, or people come to you for, solid conversation, or whether you go to other people for that, right? The energy of you going towards people or people coming towards you is always going to be a thing. So, with the twin, one of yourselves, one part of yourselves, the spiritual self, might go to other people for certain conversations or for certain advice, or whatever the case may be. And the practical side of you attracts people to you for advice or conversation, or whatever the case may be. So that energy of like giving exchange and conversation and conversing with people and intellectual debating and whatnot is very, very prevalent for you Geminis. However, the same how I'm looking at these 3 cards with the 3 of Cups, the 4 of Swords, and the Magician, they're not connected in a way. Like I can't. It's like, as of right here, right now, I can't understand what these 3 cards are trying to tell me, but it's because the connection is just not there between the 2 parts of yourselves. Whatever needs to be said will always be said. It's just, I can't give an example. Spiritual and practical. Being real, but also seeing the bigger picture of the situation. being real and seeing the bigger picture have to connect in some way, shape, or form. They're not connecting. So whatever is being said through the spiritual aspect does get said, and the same for the practical, but it's they have to connect and they have to make sense, and I think that's what's sending a lot of people off. But like I said, it's not something that you're purposefully doing, Gemini. It's just something that naturally just happens. You'll say one thing, but then turn around and say something else that completely contradicts what you said in the first place. You don't seem to, it doesn't seem to bother you, but it bothers the other people that don't understand. If they're speaking to you out of one mind, that's where they get confused. If an individual has two minds, obviously, the duality with themselves, they can kind of understand. And even if they have problems, it's only going to be problems with themselves, because that's just the way that it is. But for some reason, it feels like you're always stuck in the middle of something, or something always seems to there always seems to be chaos and conflict around you. That's just it. But it's you having to, take time for yourself and speak through yourself, because I did say is seeing the truth, speaking the truth, but also speaking it from a bigger picture kind of perspective. So that's the high vibing energy that you are. You not only see the truth, but you understand the bigger picture as well. That's what needs to be connected. The truth of what it is, who you are, and who other people are, but also seeing the truth of the bigger picture as to why it is the way that it is, I think needs to be balanced out. I'll take that one. Nope. Get five. Not five. Let me get 3 cards for the 5 of Wands spirits, please. Clarify what the 5 of Wands is for me, spirits. Okay, so Emperor just slid out. Why is the chaos and confusion, conflict, strength? I think I already understand as to why people are the way that they are. Because you're challenging them. Despite what it is that you say, you still end up telling them what it is they need to hear. They just don't want to hear it. But as well as you kind of send a lot of people off too, because of the way that you say it. But then again, you don't really have to. You don't really have to appease people in the way that they want to be appeased. But however, you being the twin, you love yourself and understand yourself well enough to where you can understand other people. And I guess once that communication aspect comes in, the way that you kind of say it triggers, but then they also get even more trigger and go into 5 of Wands energy, because they don't want to hear you anymore. They don't want to have an understanding now. They just, oh, you said this to me, so now it's kind of like you saying F me kind of situation. Get one more card, spirits, please. To clarify the 5 of Wands. The Emperor being out here is kind of like the Aries energy. It's like people are gonna, well, Nine of Wands, fire again. And this is all fire signs. Five of Wands, Emperor, Aries, Strength, Leo, and then the Nine of Wands is fire energy as well. How you say things, yes, may be a slight bit of an issue, but despite that, you always tell people what it is that they need to hear. So they may, fight you, or they may be argumentative with you, whatever the case may be, for a little bit. They, for some reason, will always come around because, you being a high vibing energy, they can sense that you can give them something more. Whatever it is that you tell them kind of sends them off. But however, you still mean well. But you do have to take time out for yourselves, Geminis, to it's more so for you. It's not even for other people. It's more so for you because regardless of the fact you still find yourselves in Five of Wands energy, whether you get put into it or you kind of step foot into it, you have to do this for yourself. So it's not even for other people. Even if it is, it's still more so for you than anyone else. Just backing away, having conversations, conversing with self, connecting those dots more, connecting those bridges more. When you speak from two, but you end up helping the individuals who are only in one. Since you're always in two, being in Gemini, when you speak, you be able to speak to the individuals who have one mind and get them to where they need to be. Or whenever you have conversation, whenever you give them advice, they'll be able to hear it much better and formulate a second part of themselves. Because when they're hearing you say what it is that you say, it's kind of going over their heads, or it's attacking a part of themselves that they have not yet, that they're not yet privy to. But yeah. Take a little break, Geminis. Stay away from people. Not like intentionally stay away from people, but just choose to put yourself first more so than anything else. Have conversations with yourself, balance your spirituality and practicality side, and you'll be all right. You'll be good. Later.